Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. I'm your anchor today. In a rapidly escalating Middle East crisis, tensions are running high as the US and Iran lock horns over war and diplomacy. Crude oil prices have skyrocketed to a 4-year high, with the Strait of Hormuz at the center of the conflict. The Trump administration has rejected an Iranian proposal to open the waterway until Tehran's nuclear concerns are met. We'll bring you updates on day 62 of the crisis, including reactions from Congress and the latest on energy prices. As tensions with Iran continue to escalate, a growing number of lawmakers are questioning the U.S. military's role in the region, including Representative Pete Hegseth. The U.S. Congress has come under fire over the Iran conflict, with Democrats strongly condemning the war's justification and its estimated $25 billion cost. Pete Hegseth, the head of the U.S. Central Command, faced sharp criticism for launching the conflict without congressional approval. According to sources, Hegseth authorized military strikes against Iranian targets in response to a perceived threat from Tehran. However, the move was met with skepticism by many lawmakers, who argue that it was made without sufficient consultation or oversight. The justification for the war, which targeted alleged Iranian missile production facilities, has been disputed by some experts, who claim that the intelligence used to justify the strikes was flawed. Democrats have also questioned why Hegseth did not seek congressional approval before authorizing the military action. Meanwhile, tensions between the U.S. and Iran remain high, with reports suggesting that Donald Trump's administration rejected a proposal from Tehran for international access to the Strait of Hormuz. The rejection has left negotiations at an impasse, while Iranian officials have sought support from other countries in their efforts to secure international backing. The conflict highlights ongoing concerns about the role of military power in foreign policy decision-making and the need for greater transparency and accountability. As the situation continues to unfold, many are watching to see how this crisis will be resolved and what implications it may have for global security. Following a devastating escalation in the conflict, global markets are now reeling from the latest developments that have sent crude oil prices soaring to new heights. Crude oil prices have surged to their highest level in 4 years, with Brent crude reaching $110 per barrel, according to reports from France 24 English. The price hike comes after U.S. President Donald Trump said the American blockade on the Strait of Hormuz could last for months, citing concerns over Iran's military capabilities. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital shipping route for oil exports, and any disruption to it would have significant implications for global energy markets. Iran has been involved in a long-standing conflict with the U.S. and its allies, which escalated after the U.S. withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal with Tehran. The U.S. reimposed sanctions on Iran last year, leading to a sharp decline in oil exports. In response to the blockade, Iranian officials have threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz if it is not lifted. This would have severe consequences for global energy supplies and prices. The price jump has already had an impact on investors, with some fearing that a prolonged conflict could lead to supply chain disruptions and higher costs for consumers. As the situation in the region continues to unfold, markets remain highly volatile. Analysts warn that any extended disruption to oil exports from Iran could have far-reaching consequences for the global economy. With tensions between the U.S. and Iran showing no signs of easing, investors are bracing themselves for further price swings. Following a tense diplomatic showdown, U.S. President Donald Trump has rejected an offer by Iran to secure safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. The United States has rejected an Iranian proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, choosing instead to maintain a naval blockade on the strategically important waterway. According to Axios, U.S. President Donald Trump told the news outlet that the blockade is somewhat more effective than the bombing and will leave Iran facing increased pressure. Trump claims that Iran is seeking an agreement to lift the U.S. blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, but insists his primary goal remains preventing Tehran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. The inability to export oil has left Iranian infrastructure close to exploding, according to Trump. This assertion comes as tensions between Washington and Tehran remain high. The proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz was made by Iran, which suggests it is seeking an agreement to lift the U.S. blockade in exchange for reducing its nuclear program. However, a U.S. military source told Axios that plans have been developed for a short and powerful wave of aerial strikes if Iran does not yield. Despite this, Trump has yet to authorize kinetic action. The situation highlights the ongoing tensions between the United States and Iran over Tehran's nuclear ambitions. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital waterway for global oil supplies, and its closure would have significant economic implications. With diplomatic efforts stalled, the risk of military conflict remains a possibility. As Trump maintains a hardline stance on Iran's nuclear program, the international community watches with concern as the situation continues to escalate. Today, we take a closer look at the escalating tensions in the Middle East, where a new message from U.S. President Trump is sparking international concern. We're coming to you live on day 62 of the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran. The situation remains volatile, with both sides dug in their heels. United States President Donald Trump has taken a hardline stance, stating that Washington's blockade of Iranian ports has been a success. He urged Tehran to just give up as pressure mounts on the country. However, this approach is being met with resistance from Iran. Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf dismissed the U.S. campaign as ineffective, while the military says its restraint so far has been intended to give diplomacy a chance. The situation is not just about Iran and the U.S. It's also having a ripple effect on global markets. Tensions in the Strait of Hormuz are driving oil prices above $120 a barrel, with major economies feeling the pinch. The price spike comes as the U.S. has warned its citizens against traveling to Iran, further straining relations between the two nations. The situation is critical, and the world is watching closely. As tensions continue to build, it's essential to understand what's driving this conflict and what's at stake. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most critical waterways, with a third of the world's oil passing through it. Any disruption could have catastrophic consequences for global markets. With no clear resolution in sight, we'll continue to bring you updates as more information becomes available. We urge caution and restraint from all parties involved to avoid any further escalation. We now turn to a developing story in the Middle East, where Iran's top leaders are taking aim at President Trump's economic strategy. The United States has been imposing a naval blockade on Iran, and now Tehran is warning that this move will be doomed to fail. The international community is bracing for the consequences of this standoff, which is affecting global energy markets. Iran attacked shipping in the Strait of Hormuz after the U.S. and Israel launched their joint assault in late February. In response, Washington has been enforcing a naval blockade on Iranian ports, which Trump said would remain until Iran agrees to a nuclear deal. However, a new proposal from Iran seems to be dead in the water due to this blockade. The energy sector is feeling the pinch as prices soar to their highest point in 4 years. The international benchmark price for oil, Brent crude, rose to over $126 a barrel overnight, just shy of its 2022 peak when Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine. Gas prices in the U.S. have also skyrocketed, reaching an average of $4.30 a gallon. The situation is dire for global trade and economic stability. The Strait of Hormuz is crucial to international shipping, with some 20% of the world's oil passing through it. If the standoff continues, it could lead to shortages and price hikes globally. The U.S. military has prepared plans for potential military action, which were reported by Axios. The situation is volatile, and it remains unclear what will happen next. However, one thing is certain. The world is watching with bated breath as this crisis unfolds. The involvement of top administration officials, including Trump, in discussions over energy industry issues adds to the complexity of the situation. That's all for today's news recap. I'm your name, and thank you for watching. To stay up to date on the latest global events, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. We'll continue to bring you in-depth coverage of the stories that matter most. Until next time, good night.